What? Alright. Alright, in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, do you want me to restart for the timer or?
Et donc, on est rendu à Diddy Kong Racing. On a Obio avec nous, qui est ancien World Record holder, qui se bat encore avec Mrs. Gizamaloke. Je pense que je le prononce comme du monde.
Kind of.
À peu près. Donc, Obio, qui est présentement deuxième au monde, c'est un des meilleurs runners de ce jeu-là. Catégorie 100%. Donc, ça veut dire tous les championnats, toutes les choses de TT. Have fun, bonne run.
Thanks.
Hey!
Alright, so like we said, it's around where we collect all 47 golden balloons. We collect all the keys, we do all the mini games, all the bosses. So you know we get to see everything in the game. There's a lot of tech that goes on in this game that I'm gonna go over. But right now, the first thing we're gonna do before starting. Go into levels, we're gonna collect everything in the overworld, and for that we're gonna transform to plane. And I'm gonna go into the specifics of the plane right now, but just know that barrel rolling is way faster than normal movement. So I'm gonna go barrel all over the place when I'm in plane. Oh well, it's a great start. Sometimes the balloon can be difficult to get. Alright, that's fine. That one I can get it later, it's not a big deal. Alright, so the first one we're gonna enter is Dino Domain. Like you can probably guess with the name, that level, that world is dinosaur themed, so all the races have like dinosaur skeletons and real dinosaur walking around. So the first thing I'm gonna talk about is car mechanics. Oh god. The car is very interesting in this game. Well, this is not going well. So you can go a lot faster than normally by tapping the A button. So what the A button does is when you release it, you get the slide speed increased and then it goes down. But so if you keep tapping the A button over and over again, you can abuse that and actually go faster than you're supposed to go. So that's the thing I'm gonna do throughout the run. Alright, so what I just did there is a cutscene skip. So there's a slight oversight that's been done in the game where you can actually pause in the same frame to complete a race. And by doing so, you can skip the little cutscene where Taj, the magical elephant, comes down and gives you the golden balloon, and it takes quite a lot of time to skip them. So I'm gonna try to get as much as I can throughout the run. And now you probably already seen, but I'm getting green boost. You get green boost in this game by releasing the A button right before using a boost, whether it's a zipper or a blue balloon. And you get a very much higher speed from the boosts by doing so than holding the A button. And we can actually reach some incredible speed by chaining boosts that way. Okay, so that's a good thing about the cutscene skip. You can buffer it until you finish the race. So like, if you're not too sure if you're gonna, like, if you want to take it safe, you can buffer it to the frame where you finish the race. You know, it's faster to get it first try, but it still saves more time to buffer it like 2-3 times than just missing it. And so in this game, you've probably seen me so far go out of my way to get a few bananas like here. Bananas in this game increase your top speed, which is very important because whenever you hit the zipper, the top speed will affect how much speed the zipper gives you. So you want to try to have as much top speed as you can, but the banana effect caps at 10, so any more banana that you get after 10 doesn't affect the top speed anymore. So you want to basically in every level except a few get to 10 banana as quick as possible and then do the rest of the race. Right. Try to get the cutscene skip. Yeah, I missed it. It's not too bad. So the first one you miss, you only lose 4 seconds. Even though you have to watch just cutscene, because you would need to watch it anyway in one of the mini games, because you cannot skip it in the mini games, and the mini game one is 4 seconds faster to watch. But all the other one that you missed beside the first one will be losing about 7 seconds, which is why it's really important to try to get them. Alright, so here we're gonna do the first out of bounds. Plane is pretty broken, and the developer didn't think that you could abuse the water mechanics here. So we can just build up a ton of speed, barrel roll, and go out of bounds. And basically how it works is that the liquid, it tries to push you up to prevent you from going underneath it, but in the barrel animation it doesn't do that. So if you build up a ton of speed and then barrel into the liquid and go underneath the wall that doesn't extend that much far down underneath the liquid, you can just go out of bounds. And basically what you need to do once you're out of bounds is hit certain checkpoints that the game checks to know if you're like still on the right path. So that's why I was like going up and down in the track, just hitting checkpoints, making sure that the game knows that I'm technically still doing the race correctly. Alright, so now I'm gonna do the most recent glitch that we found in this game, which was about, I think, 3 or 4 months ago at this point. It's called Tricky Skip, and it's gonna look really weird. So I'm gonna try to do it and then explain what it was. It's probably gonna look like I'm doing nothing important, but trust me, it works. Okay, missed it. And it's RNG, so it might take a little while. Classic RNG. Wow, I'm getting really unlucky. I'm gonna restart. Sometimes that happens, you can't really control it. It sometimes just won't happen for like 20 tries. Once it works, it's gonna be pretty cool. Okay, I got it. So you know you got it when you have this wrong way while going in the right direction, technically. And then you can just drove here and you finish the race. And the way it works is the game kind of has checkpoints around the map, like I talked about in the out of bounds plane track. But it kind of has like a weird checkpoint behind the finish line, and you need to hit it on a certain frame so that the game doesn't revert back to the first checkpoint. And if you keep that weird checkpoint that you hit, then the game thinks like that you're at the end, and so the next one you hit, you're finished the race pretty much. But like getting it depends on like the frame and the lag and a bunch of things like that. So that's why it's kind of RNG. Alright, so this is the first mini game. Pretty simple. You have to pick and put 3 eggs in your nest and weight them and they need to add you, and I need to defend them so that the AI doesn't take it. Interesting thing about the mini games in this game is that you can, if you do the same movement every time, the AI will also do the same movement every time, so you can control what they do and basically control the RNG. So the pattern I did here pretty much means that nobody's gonna steal my egg, and you can just get 3 quick eggs in your nest and hatch them, and that's Fire Mountain. And we get the first piece of the amulet, the TT amulet, which we need for 100%. Alright. And normally I would go to Jungle Falls here, but because I missed the balloon at the beginning, I have to do a slightly different path in this second dino trip. So after beating the first boss, you have to redo all the races, but now you have server points to collect. So you're gonna do the same thing, but collect all server points and win. And usually they're not in too bad positions. There's a few tracks that are pretty hard, like some of the coins can be very out of the way or like in really awkward spots. But for the most part in the earlier levels, it's pretty easy. And obviously you try to get cuts and skip, which I didn't get there. So I'm gonna go back to Jungle Falls without bunking on the door. Jungle Falls. And one thing I forgot to mention about car is that, whenever you gain some air, you don't really lose as much speed as when you're on the ground. So for instance, if you use a boost and you jump right after, you can lose your speed much lower than if you drive on the ground. So what you want to do usually is just use boost before jumps and then just carry that speed as far as you can. Stuck on the door. It's classic. For whatever reason, that's the only door in the game where it frequently happens where you're gonna get stuck on it by just holding A. Okay. So this is probably the hardest track with silver coins in this world. There's a very annoying point to the left here that you see. It's not on the racetrack, but we're gonna get it on the second lap with the jump. So I'm gonna try to angle this jump right. Okay, that's good. Also, you probably just noticed there, you can actually move your cart left and right in the air, and up and down as well. So you can really control where you're gonna land with that. And so, like I just explained 2 minutes ago, you keep more speed while being in the air. So we tend to go down on the stick so that the cart go up, so it stays in the air more. And then with that tunnel in particular, we can go to the left as well to go further in the tunnel and gain even more time. Okay, so we're also gonna do the other bounce on this Silver Coin challenge, like the first race, but we're gonna collect every single coin on the first lap and then go out of bounds. Well, hopefully collect every single one on the first lap. Good. So now at this point, it's like the first race. Just gotta follow the checkpoints, make sure you hit them, because otherwise it's gonna say you're going the wrong way. You're gonna have to go back and hit the checkpoint, and you go to the finish line. I'm missing a lot of cutscene skips. It's fine. So now we're gonna fight Tricky again, and as you can guess, the glitch that we did the first time works again. So we're gonna pray for RNG again. Hope it works fairly quickly, because losing a minute to it isn't really fun. It's just one of these things that you're gonna have to deal when you run this game. You know, sometimes this trick just won't be nice to you. And sadly, it wasn't nice this run, but it's still fine. Oh, and it's really annoying when you miss it on the second one, because there's that one pillar in the way. Come on. Really not lucky today. Okay, it was like 4th and like that I think was like 9th try or something. Not good, but it's fine. I'm gonna reset the console. The only thing that was left in that world was the trophy race. But we don't want to do it now, and we'll get to that later why. But for now, we're gonna reset, which skips the cutscene of watching Tricky, and we're gonna just go back in the file and do card challenge. One thing it didn't explain is how the game saves. So for the regular races, it's saved on the very first frame you completed, so that's why the cutscene skip works. On the boss races, it saves on the second frame, I believe. So even if you can actually get like cutscene skips, but it doesn't save on that frame. Save on the other next frame, which you can just reset after that, and it's saved as you beat the boss. Minigames I don't actually know when it saves, but we don't reset on them. Yeah, that's about it. So yeah, you can pretty much reset as soon as you beat the races in general. Here I'm just gonna cut in the grass, hopefully without hitting that bump. Nice. Just saves a little bit of time.
Hello, bye-bye for now.
I want to transform into plane and go to
Hello.
Snowflake Mountain, which is going to be a snow team level. So again, like the first world, it's going to be 4 tracks, all snow teamed with the boss, also a teamed about that. And first up is going to be probably the laggiest track in the game. This track is really, really laggy, and you've probably seen me restart the races every single time I enter a race for the first time. I restart it because there's usually a cutscene that you have to watch, and the only way to skip it is to restart the race. And for most races, it saves about a second, but for this one, it is so laggy that it actually saves like 5 seconds, I believe, to restart the race instead of watching the little cutscene. It's in general, not only it's really laggy, this track is very bumpy as well. It's really hard to do everything correctly, and also on the second lap, you have all these spike balls and ore slicks all over the place that the AI puts every time. Alright. Nice. So this cutscene skip is actually pretty hard. Like I said, this track is really laggy, and often it's gonna just skip a frame um, there at the end. So sometimes it's actually impossible to get the cutscene skip. But I got it, so that's pretty good. I didn't restart this track. I didn't do like the little restart to skip the intro here. It's actually one of the 2 tracks where the intro is faster than restarting. Watching the intro is faster. There's only 2 tracks, which is this one and Whale Bay. All the other ones are laggy enough that it's faster to restart. So I had trouble with everything there. Invisibility. Oh god. The snowball can be very trolly. Okay, good. So we unlock this minigame. Unlike the first one, we're not gonna do it after the first boss. We're gonna get to that later. I was supposed to restart it, but whatever. So, alright, so this is probably either the hardest or second hardest track in the game. Playing tracks in general tends to be very hard. But this is like by far the top one of the top 2 hardest to do. Just really easy to go in a wall and lose 5 seconds. A lot of boost to take to go fast, and you kind of just have to go for it. You just can't be safe, because if you go safe, you basically lose as much time as if you will go in the wall. So you just have to really go for it and deal with the AI and all of that. Oh no, I missed all of these boosts. That's what happens when you do mistakes. You use a ton of time. Alright. Playing is very, very momentum based, as soon as you lose the momentum, it really loses a lot of time. Like that probably didn't seem that bad, but it was probably about 3 seconds alone, just missing that boost. And that really adds up throughout the run if you're not careful enough. Oh. Alright, so this is not the hardest car track, but it's my personal worst. It's just a very tricky one to do well. There's just a lot of bumps, a lot of really fast turns that you have to do with the boosts. It's just overall pretty hard. And then you don't want to hit the ice here, so the ice is kind of like a trampoline, where if you hit it, you're just gonna bounce around, and until you get back to the track, and it kills all your speed as well. So you really want to avoid the ice at all costs. There's also ice like that in Snowball Valley we did earlier, but it's not on the way that we go, so we don't have to worry about it. I think I got every single cutscene skip in this world, which is pretty good. And so now we're gonna face the boss of this level, which is Bluey the Walrus. It's gonna be the first time I believe we do overcraft in this run, so I'm gonna go over the mechanics of the overcraft, which is by far the worst in this game. It is not only an end killer, it is a stick killer. That's what breaks sticks and makes me have to change controller every few months. And you're gonna see soon why. The way you go faster in Overcraft is by snaking. So you have to go back and forth snaking while holding R, and you also have to tap the A button like you do in car. And that's how you go fast in Overcraft. And you can probably see if you do that a bunch of time for months, then it really wears down your sticks a lot, and it's really hard on the thumb as well. Like if you do, let's say an hour of Overcraft practice, then your left hand is going to be pretty dead at the end by just the constant back and forth movement. Alright, reset here. Like I said, we're not gonna do the rest of this world right now, and it's gonna have to do with the whole trophy race thing that we're gonna do a little bit later. So we're gonna reset, and then we're gonna get back to the file, and it's gonna put us in the Overcraft challenge, which is gonna be a minute 15 of pure snaking. So hopefully my hands can handle it.
Abracadabra.
So this one is pretty much, you know, a lap around the overworld. Oh god, okay. Didn't expect to hit the tree. You just try to cut the corners, snake as much as you can, as efficiently as you can. And here you can actually go to the right of the bridge, and it's, I believe, half a second faster. But the thing is, the challenges in the overworld have these kind of checkpoints that check if you're still following the track, because it isn't really a track since it's the overworld, so it kind of has a few boundaries that it checks if you're still following the little flags. And to the right of the bridge is a very narrow like opportunity to go there, but if you go just a little bit too much to the right, it's gonna say that you didn't follow the flags, and it's gonna basically make you lose the challenge, and you're gonna have to start all over again. And it's not really worth it for the half a second time save. Alright, 116 isn't really what I was looking for. Usually when like about the 113 was pretty good. But I bunked a few times. Alright, so now we're gonna go to Sherbert Island, which is the third world. So this is gonna be a bunch of world with like tropical trees and stuff like that. A lot of Overcraft here. Alright, so if I can do this track well, this is probably the coolest to watch. It goes really, really fast when you do it well. But I missed the blue balloon, so it doesn't look pretty good. Hopefully I can do it right on the next 2 laps. Because when you chain everything correctly here, it is pretty insane. Oh, I have water. I kind of got it there, but it is a very difficult track to do consistently. Alright, that was what I was supposed to do on all 3 laps. You can see you keep a lot of speed throughout pretty much the whole lap. And it is pretty hard to do, to hit all the zippers correctly with all the speed you have. Alright, so now some more Overcraft now. This track can be very, very fast if you hit the zippers in correct ways. And you chain the boost like that. It's very, very technical. And the bunking in Overcraft isn't too bad. It's actually sometimes very helpful to bunk and to just go in walls and kind of like get pushed into another direction. The other vehicles really doesn't help, but Overcraft is weird in that sometimes when you're gonna see later in Boulder Canyon in the run, we actually intentionally go into a wall to help us go faster. I got the gun skip. Was a pretty decent protect game. Alright, so this is the track that has the key for this world. I usually take it on lap 3, but basically it is all the way to the left here in the water. Most casual player would beat the race and then you know, beat the race, and then once you beat the race, you can choose your vehicles. You would go in the hovercraft, explore, and find the key there because it's not on the racetrack at all, but it's actually faster to just go in the water with the car and slowly go there and get it during the race. Also, one thing we used to do is like, instead of getting it within the race, we would do the race and we'd restart the race and get it as the car as well. But now we just do it during the race. I believe it's 2 seconds faster. So we just go here, just keep all day. There's not much you can do. Take the key. So here, a little optimization is that if you just go against this wall, you actually move a slightly faster than just being in the water. You can get to the shore faster. Oh. This shortcut is pretty hard to get sometimes. So like the minigame in Snowflake Mountain, we won't do this one until way later. I'm gonna come back to this level. So Whale Bay, the second level where you don't restart at the beginning, because it's not laggy at all. So here, I think it's one of the first level where we don't actually get all 10 bananas, because the bananas in this level are just way far out of the way. Like, you have to go all the way to the wall and around the ship to get 10 bananas, and it's just not worth it versus just trying to go fast. So usually, if you get all bananas on the way, you get 7. I have 6, so it's not too bad. Oh, I went so fast that the zipper didn't even register. It's crazy. So yeah, in Overcraft you can actually boost crazy amount of speeds with the boosts. Oh, okay. I had to restart by mistake. When you do that, it still saves that you beat the race, so that you can just pause again and then go to the lobby. Alright, so now I'm gonna face the boss of this wall, which is Bubbler the Octopus. So more Overcraft and more snaking. And in the first race, he throws a bunch of spiked balls everywhere that you have to dodge. Actually, I'm gonna try to dodge them, but he's not a big factor as long as you get the start boost here. If you don't get the blue start boost, sometimes you get stuck behind him and he throws some spike ball to the left right at the beginning, and you can get sniped pretty hard. So it's really important that you get the start boost there. And the strat for this boss, just to stack up the three balloons and do that. Generally speaking, it's better to not stack the boosts. It's better to use one after one and like kind of chain them and use the next one when the first one fades out. But for this track in specific, it is faster to stack them. So I think it's the only time in the game you're gonna see me have the third upgrade of the boosts. Alright. Reset again, and now it's when the game's gonna start picking up. We're gonna go back to Dino Domain and do the trophy race. And now the game is gonna get glitchy. It's gonna be pretty interesting. Go back to menu. So we're gonna transform into plane. Oh, never mind. You have to do the plane race. Just later. Okay, so I forgot we have to do the plane race now. Whenever you go back to the file and you have enough balloon to do a challenge, it just automatically put you into the challenge. And plane challenge is the last one that we have to do. There's only 3, which is our car challenge, hover challenge, and plane challenge. We already done the 2 before, so. Oh, was a really bad bunk. I like to see like that bunk probably cost me about 4 seconds. It might not seem like it, but it's actually really costly to bunk in plane in general. So this is just all about maximizing your barrels, making sure you don't go into any walls, any trees, that you don't press A because A loses speed. I'm gonna barrel roll with only the R button and the stick.
Hello, bye-bye for now.
So now we're done with all task challenges. We're gonna go back to Dino Domain, do the trophy race. And also get that balloon that I missed earlier. That's why it really doesn't matter if you miss it, that one, because you're gonna have to come here anyway, so it's gonna be on the way. And one thing to note in trophy races is that the AI is slightly faster than the normal races, so they're not gonna be at the same place on the track than you're used to. So for example, sometime on the regular races, they can be right about this balloon, and sometimes they'll steal it, but in the trophy races, it's never gonna happen because they're gonna be much further ahead. Alright, and also for trophy races, there's no cutscenes to skip. You just press A and go to the next race. Which is a nice break because cutscene skips are pretty hard and can be frustrating sometimes. Okay. So nice physics from the game. So I've probably seen a bunch of like really weird, hitting bumps and losing all the speed. The physics in this game are pretty random sometimes. It's really easy to just kind of clip the ground in some places and just lose all the speed. Then you have to build it back up all again. Sometimes it's something you have to deal with. Right. And the reason why we waited so long to do this trophy race is gonna be because of something in the next track. That is possible because of 2 things. One because we can go out of bounds there, and the second one because there's a loading zone that isn't used underneath the track, the next track, that we can abuse. And I'm gonna go into a little bit more detail in a few minutes, but just know that we're gonna do a wrong warp pretty soon. Alright, so let's go out of bounds. So it wrong warped us into the Dragon Forest lobby. There's actually 3 possible outcomes. this is the most common one and not the one I wanted, but it's fine. So now the game is in a very, very weird state where it still thinks we're doing the trophy race because that's what we were doing before using the wrong warp. So we can do some really interesting things. So we're gonna come here and we're gonna do the mini games. But first we're gonna do something. We're gonna abuse the game here. The developer don't actually check you if you go backward. Okay, I'm gonna. Oh, I can't restart that, right? Okay, I did pretty big mistakes here. I'm just gonna have to deal with the RNG. So I was supposed. If you don't get the start boost, you get different RNG. And like I said, the mini games RNG is dedicated by like how you play. It's always gonna be the same if you do the same movement every single time, and so you really want to try to do the same thing. Like we have a pattern where if we do the beginning the same thing every single time, they're all gonna go up in a way that's really fast to kill them. And because I missed the start boost, then the pattern was completely different. So that's unfortunate, but it's fine. So now we beat the mini game and we got the amulet piece. But the game at this point still thinks we're in the trophy race, so we're gonna re-enter this. And remember, we're currently first in the standing with winning all the 3 races. And that means that if we get 4th, we can still win. So we're just gonna get 4th here. And this 4th place is actually gonna count toward the trophy race, and we're gonna win the trophy. And so, because of that, we actually got the trophy for Snowflake Mountain without actually starting it in Snowflake Mountain. And this is something we're gonna abuse a lot with the Over the Worlds as well. You can do that with races and mini games, where if you win a race or lose a mini game in another world, you will get the trophy there with the wrong warp. Oh, I missed the coin. It's really hard optimization to land directly on that coin, but it's much faster than going down normally. Oh, I get stuck on the wall. Wow. You can see this track is really laggy right now. Not many frames. So sometimes it's pretty hard to play properly when there's so little frames. Oh god. Okay, it wasn't too bad. There's a little troll from the AI. So I tried to pause buffer there, but like I explained before, the finish line there is extremely laggy, so it's really hard to pause buffer. Because sometimes your input just doesn't register. And here, the coin in this track, like there's 2 paths you can take at the beginning, and this is the slower one, but there's a coin here, so I'm just gonna get it on the first lap and get done with it. You want to go to the left side as much as you can. Oh, okay. It was a weird boost. So you probably see like there's a pretty big pattern with the server point races where you want to try to get the server point on the first lap as much as you can, so that the second and third one you can just go as fast as you can in the lap and do the normal strat. Sometimes it's not possible to get them all in one lap, but most of the time you can. Okay. Oh my god. It's pretty hard to get that point fast because it's really easy to just kind of hit the top of that arc and just lose a bunch of speed or just be like get a really weird angle sometimes. But it's fine. Oh, the last point is underneath here. So Everfrost, it's a track where actually you don't press the A button at all after the first zipper. Like I said, zippers, don't want to use the A button when you use them because you get more speed, and when you barrel, you don't want to use A too because when you barrel with the A button, it's slower. So it's actually pretty interesting that some of the tracks in this game, you actually don't really use the A button that much, like maybe a few seconds over the minutes that you play the track. At least for the plane tracks. For aircraft and car, you have to use A, but for the plane tracks, you really don't have to. Alright, cool. So this trick I had a lot of coins way out of the way. You just gonna have to get them all in the first lap. There's no really choice around it. The other options are just way slower because you lose a lot of time going around there. So might as well just do it all in one go. Sometimes you get lucky and you can go through the trees, but that one was actually solid. Alright, I think I missed every single cutscene skip in this world, sadly. It's pretty hard to get. Alright, so now I'm gonna place the Walrus again. This time, what's different for this one, I believe is slightly faster, and also there's less balloons, so I think there's 2 or 3 less blue balloons, and then I think there's also less offensive balloons. But I might be wrong on that one. Because we don't really use any of the red balloons or like green balloons or any of that because we're just going so fast that we don't need to, try to slow down Bluey. So it's gonna be a little more snaking than the other one. There's less boosts. I'm gonna reset again. You want to skip these cutscenes as much as you can because they're like 30-ish second long. They're not all the same length. It really depends on the lag and the lag pretty much because they all say the same. I think they're very similar what they say, but sometimes it's more like in others, so that the cutscene length varies. But in general, you just want to skip them as much as you can. So now we're gonna transform into plane and go do another trophy race. The reason we transform into plane is because whenever you go back to the overworld, it keeps track to what vehicle you were in the last time you were in the overworld. So the next time I'm gonna be going to the overworld after the trophy race, it's gonna remember that I had the plane, so I won't have to transform again. Oh my god. Okay. I actually did that wrong. I wasn't supposed to use the bloom there, I think. That's why that was too early for that dinosaur. Oh god. So I hope you like these tracks because you're gonna see the dino tracks another. I think after this it's another 3 times. So we do these 7 times in the whole run. So they're very important to be good at. Which sadly they're pretty much my worst tracks in the game, but they're very important speedrun wise because you do them so much. That was a nice jump here. But I've been struggling with this track today, so let's try to get a good one. This track has been for a very long time kind of like my rival in a sense where I just cannot get good times on it in runs. It's kind of that like that one track where no matter how much I try to practice it just always go wrong. It's a pretty technical track. It's short but pretty technical. Right, turn in wasn't too bad. Alright, so we're gonna go out of bounds and wrong warp again, and after the wrong warp, we're gonna head to Shorebirds. So I touched about this earlier, but there's 3 different RNG you can get from the wrong warp. The first one is what we saw the 2 times we did it. You get the car in Dragon Forest. You can also get plane in Dragon Forest, which is really rare, but faster. And you can also get Overworld Warp, but hopefully we'll see these. But for now, we're gonna do probably the hardest strat in the entire game, which is this mini game. We're gonna try to manipulate the RNG here. So hopefully you don't mess it up. I messed it up. Alright, so you want to hit these AIs in a very, very specific way, and you have to use the single missile to do so. And obviously they're pretty hard to aim, not only because it's hovercraft and it's pretty wonky to just aim with that. You have like the waves and all of that. And no, it's just very few people go for the AI manipulation here. And if you miss, it's just faster to camp the balloon like this. And then when you do that, you kind of have to hope as well that the AI shoots them between themselves so that it's faster. Alright, so like the one we did in Snowflake Mountain, we're gonna re-enter this and we're gonna lose again. And by losing, we're gonna get the trophy for this world. Alright, so now we have, well, we have 2 of the 5 trophies so far. We have Snowflake and Sherbert. We're gonna do the other ones later. For now, I'm gonna complete this world, so all 4 races with the Silver Coin challenges and then beat Bubbler too. So this track is one of the artists with the coin honestly. They're in very odd positions where there's like 2 on each side here. And you can't really get all of them in one go, and they're pretty close to the wall, so sometimes you miss them because you try to not bunk at the same time, but it's just really hard to get all of them properly. Oh, lost my blue balloon. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good time to get there. It's you can get faster, but the coin, like I said, the coins are such in bad positions that it's pretty hard to go fast in that track. So anything like 44, 45 is pretty decent. And so this track, this 7 quid challenge in particular, is probably the weirdest one because there's like, I think there's something like 5 routes for this, and they're all pretty much the same speed. It's really weird. It really comes down to the preference of what point route you want to go in this level. There's many different ways to do this. Hovercraft cutscene skips are kind of hard to time because you know the finish line is underneath the water, so it's not really clear where it is exactly. So you're gonna have to guess sometimes. Alright, so this one, there's a coin all the way to the right here, so we're just gonna take the right path for the first lap. Oh, wow, I really missed that one. So the coin boxes are pretty big, but so sometimes you don't really have to like you don't have to go in the middle of them. You can kind of just go near them and you're gonna collect them, but you know sometimes it doesn't work and you miss. Obviously, like you save a little time by doing so, but it's less. No, it's a little risky, less consistent. So we have Whale Bay, probably my favorite coin challenge, at least in Hovercraft. They still go pretty fast in this one, and they're all pretty much in the way. But like, they're in the way, but not exactly in the way. So you have to play a little bit differently, but you still go very fast, which is pretty cool. Oh well, I missed the balloon there, but normally you go very fast. Oh, okay. The AI decided to troll me there. That's actually pretty rare to see a Norse League there. I don't really remember the last time I've seen that. I know it happens, but it's not common. Alright. So Bubbler 2, the first races, the first race we did with him, you can remember, he just put spike ball all over the place. Well, this time he puts bubbles all over the place. And when you hit the bubble in this game, you can just start floating for a little bit, and then it pops. Then you fall down, and then you have to re-accelerate, and it just loses a bunch of times. You really don't want to hit any of the bubble at all. It is very, very bad. Especially at the beginning, because if you get behind them, it's going to be really hard to get ahead. Because the bubbles are pretty large. But thankfully we got ahead, so we should be fine. Oh god, it was really close. Thankfully didn't hit any of them. Alright, reset again. Now we're gonna head to the trophy race again, but so we want to have the 2 remaining before Future Funland done. So I'm gonna do the Dino Trophy one, because we actually don't have it yet, since we had used the wrong warp for the every time we went there. So we're gonna get the Dino Trophy one, and then right after we're gonna get the Dragon Trophy one, which is gonna be doing the Dino one and wrong warping. So it's gonna be about like 8 minutes of down the main tracks again. So hopefully you're ready for that. It doesn't matter exactly when you do that trophy, the Dino Trophy one. You can do it before any of the other of the first 3. So if you do it before the Snowflake one, the Sherbet one, of the Dragon one, it really doesn't change the timing at all. It's the same. It's as fast. It's the same. It's the same time loss, or like whatever. But if you do it at any other time, you're gonna lose time compared to that those choices. Most runner tends to do it at the last one. I do that purely because the Sherbert and the Snowflake tracks are generally harder, so I try to get to these faster. Oh my god, that was so weird. You know, when I was talking about weird physics, that's the kind of stuff that can happen sometime, where you're just gonna fly sideways through the track. Oh, I missed the zipper. It's not too bad if you miss it. Like if you carry enough speed from the other zipper, you're not gonna land in the middle of the pound, so it's not too bad. But like if you land in the middle of the lake, it's so slow to get back to the shore. But that a decent amount of speed, so it's fine. That's pretty good. 37. Usually I aim for 36. It's pretty much the best that I can do. But 37 is pretty good. So we're gonna complete this track normally now. Well, normally by not doing the wrong warp. We're still gonna go out of bounds. Just get the Dino Trophy out of the way. Oh, those are pretty close. Going back in bounds. Gotta be careful with that. Going back in bounds loses quite a bit of time. Alright, so we have one more, well, two more trophy, but one more for now to do.
Trophy race. Ancient Lake. Canyon.
Alright, good lap. I was aiming for 21 here. So just two more tracks and we're gonna be done with Down with the Main for a while now. We're gonna see some new tracks. Alright, so let's go out of bounds, do one more run warp. Hopefully we get the plane and Dragon first. That's what we're looking for. We didn't. Alright, it's fine. So now we're gonna just complete the trophy race. We don't have access to the minigame here. And anyway, you can't really lose the minigame fast. So the fastest way to get the trophy is just to complete the fastest track, which is Haunted Woods. It's much faster than the other three tracks. It's a very tricky one for this turn at the end, which I missed. The angle of which you need to be to not bunk in or touch any walls while still getting the zipper is pretty small. It's pretty hard to do. At least if you don't slow down. That turn is you have to turn so sharp, but at the same time it's like you don't want to turn so too sharp. It's a weird balance. Alright. So we have the trophy for all the words except Future Fun and Now, which we're gonna get later when we get there. So now we're gonna focus on completing Dragon Forest as a whole. I'm gonna start with Willow Plains, and this track has the hardest out of bounds in the game. So hopefully I get it. It's a pretty good out of bounds. It saves a lot of time as well, but it's pretty hard. So let's see if I get it. So collect as many bananas as you can before going out of bounds. Now I'm just gonna aim to the wall and barrel in the specific spots, which I missed. Well, we're gonna try again next lap. It's fine. Happens. It's pretty common to miss that in runs. It's not easy. God damn. Alright, it's fine. Alright, I still have, a shot at it in the next race, silver coin race. It's fine. Hopefully I'll be able to show it. But now you get to see this imbalance, which you don't see many of nowadays. Because everybody just goes out of bounds or reset if you miss. I just hit the I'm hitting every single up skip thing in the way now. It's pretty insane. Alright. Go to the end. Get the cutscene skip. And I missed it. Wow. That was a great Wilma Plains. Hopefully the rest of this split goes well. Alright, so Greenville Village. It's a very straightforward track. There's not many things that can go wrong. The ending is kind of hard, but like the rest of the track is pretty easy. Just go ahead and use the boosts. Pretty simple stuff. Get the bananas that you need. Crunchers in the way. One thing to know, when I go up this hill with the blue balloon, you want to hold up when you do so, because you touch the ground faster and you can turn faster towards the left. Just a little optimization. Got the cutscene skip, nice. Alright, Boulder Canyon. This is the last overcraft track in the game that we do. It's a pretty hard one. Also, this is where I said earlier that sometime in Overcraft, it's faster to bonk on the wall. And, well, I missed it now. Hopefully I get on the second track, but you can kind of just hit the wall in this tunnel and get pushed further ahead and gain time that way. It's pretty convenient. like this. Goes a lot faster than just making sure you don't bonk. And this track also has the key for this world, so hopefully, okay. Sometimes the hitbox for this one is really bad and it's really easy to miss, but didn't get trolled too much. Pretty happy about that. And then the ending here is really, really laggy with all the AI around. Hopefully, I get the cutscene skip. I do. Okay, nice. That one is pretty hard to get when it's that laggy. It's not too bad if there's like no AI around, but they're pretty much always around. Now we're gonna do 100 was again. Hopefully better than I did before. It wasn't really good, but no, this is one of the most technical tracks in the entire game. Some really sharp and hard turns, and specific angles that you need to get. Oh, it's pretty close to the zipper. I don't know what that was, but it was weird. Just kinda got stuck upward on the wall. Well, it's fine. So now we're gonna do the first boss for this, Smokey the Dragon. In my opinion, is the hardest boss in this game. Not to beat, but to do well in the race, because, you know, it's a plane track, so you want to do as much barrel and stuff like that as possible. But there's many obstacles on the way, and it's really easy to just go in a wall and lose 5 seconds. I'm still gonna try to, you know, do everything as fast as I can, but I'm probably gonna bunk somewhere because it's just very hard. So we have to avoid fireballs, pillars, walls, windmills. Yeah. See, I kind of hit like the side of the wall there at the beginning, and that just gave me a really bad angle over the tunnel and hit the wall. Just mistakes like that can happen very easily in this track. Alright, not too bad. So usually I aim for like a 115, but then I did like 2 mistakes and lost 6 seconds. That's, you know, that's the average Smokey that happens. It's really hard not to do mistakes. So now we're gonna do the mini game. We're gonna abuse the same thing I did in the cycle pyramid, where you, for whatever reason, there was an oversight where you actually can't back up at the start of mini games in car, and we're gonna do a pattern that's pretty fast because of that. So I'm just gonna go backward, drop down here, and now we're just gonna get these in groups of 2 because you cannot get more than 2 before going to put them in your chests. So we're gonna get these 2s after, and basically we're gonna alternate between these packs of 2 bananas. Drop down. Might have to wait a little bit. Sometimes you're faster than they respawn, so you have to slow down. Oh, I didn't get close enough. And you drift off the slope because it's faster as well. Here. I think that's something I've mentioned. Drifting on slope is significantly faster than just driving up slopes. So whenever you're on a slope and you're not boosting, you want to be drifting. Which is why I was doing that there. Alright, so now I have all the pieces of that amulet, so that's great. It's time to finish this world, so I'm gonna do all the races again with the server points and hopefully get the other bounce in this level. I really want to show it off, but I've just been choking it. There's a pretty hard one to get here. It's hard to get without touching any wall, losing a ton of time. Alright, so we're gonna attempt the out of bounds again. I've just been really unlucky with that, damn. Alright, it's fine. Sadly, didn't get it. Like I said, it's pretty hard. It's definitely the hardest out of bounds in this game. It's the only one that you can't really be consistent at. The other ones you can be, but this one's just a little bit too hard for that. So didn't help, was low on bananas. Just the bunks everywhere. Alright. Alright, well, 2 pretty bad wilderness planes, but it's fine. The rest was pretty decent. So I'm gonna move to Rainbow Village, and this track has it has 1 coin, which is pretty hard to get. Well, not necessarily hard to get, but it's hard to get it fast. So hopefully it goes well. Diddy just keep blocking me. That's great. Alright. So this one you don't really have a choice, but kind of split getting the points in 2 laps. There's too many coins that are too close together to get on the same lap. Whoa, that was weird. just gonna drift in the wrong way. So alright, so for this coin, okay, didn't get it. So what I'm gonna try for that coin is kind of use the boost, but you don't want to have the very big boost of speed. So you have a whole day to have a certain boost of speed, so that you go faster, but not fast enough that you're gonna like fly and miss the coin. But sadly, I still missed the coin because wow. Wow, this is not going well. Sadly, like I missed the coin because I just bunked. Because when you hit the bump, it's pretty hard to know which direction you're going in. Alright. was rough, but it's fine.
Boulder Canyon.
Alright, I'm gonna get this coin. The first coin that I got, you can get it on other laps if you prefer, but I like it. I like to do it on the first one because it makes the second and third lap faster, for me at least. And we're gonna leave this one for the next one because we wanna get these bananas. Oh well, I forgot. I need to not forget that on the third lap. It would be bad. Just get the coin. Sometimes it's easy to just focus so much on what you're doing to forget that you have coins to collect. Alright, get the coin.
Haunted Woods.
So for this one, it's really hard to get them if you just do the race with the boost and stuff. So I just like to kind of drive around while collecting the several coins in the first lap and the bananas as well. And then the second and third lap, you can just do the normal strat. Not worry about the coins at all. And got this game in the air. Cool. So for this rematch, the difference is that there's just a ton more, just a ton more of fireballs. I believe there's the same amount of blue balloons. I think there might be one less or something. But it's mostly there's a ton more fireball. So on the third lap, it's gonna be pretty significant. How much there is. It's gonna be a lot harder to navigate throughout the track. So hopefully I don't hit any of them. So you can see it starts to get there's a lot of fireball on the way now. Just need to make sure you dodge all of them. Oh my. It was disappearing and it still hit me. Wait, it wasn't too bad. Could have been much worse. Still at 115, that is very good. For the second race, that is very good. Alright, so now we got all the trophies, we beat all the boss. The only thing we can do right now is beat Wispig 1 because there is only that and Future Funland to do, but we cannot go into Future Funland before we beat Wispig 1, so just have to go back into the file and transform into plane and go beat Wispig. Normally, the only thing you need to do to unlock that race, well, not true. You can go to that race from with like nothing. You can go out of bounds in the overworld and go from behind and get into the loading zone and fight him with like 0 balloon or anything, which is what we do in any percent, but it's not really that much faster in Hondo. I think it's maybe 1 or 2 seconds faster to do, but it puts a lot more resets at the beginning of the run if you do it. So, you know, we opt to not do it. Alright, so you can actually lose this race. This is the only race in the game that I would say it's possible to lose. If you mess up and you fall into one of these like little lakes, there's some of them that are very long to get out of. And Wispig isn't that slow in this race, so you gotta be careful. So as long as you don't fall into one of the bad ones, you should be fine. So it's kind of just a matter of hitting the moves correctly and going through the level without, like I said, falling into the water. I can't stress enough how you do not want to fall into the water. I have lost to Wispig because of that, like, not that long ago. Oh my god, okay. I kind of got that bad angle there. So we're gonna reset the console, but for Wispig, we have to wait until the next cutscene. Okay. So for that specific boss, it doesn't save exactly when you beat the race, but when the next cutscene starts. Just a little difference you need to know. And we reset there because there's actually like quote-unquote fake credits that you have to watch normally, but we don't want to watch them, so we reset the console. Otherwise, we'll be sitting there for like 3 minutes watching nothing. Alright, so transform into plane, and now we're gonna head to Future Foundland, which is probably the hardest section of the game. There's a lot of hard tracks and tricks you gotta do. Alright, so the first track we're gonna do is Space Dust Alley. And remember earlier when I said Everfrost Peak was like one of the top 2 hardest races in the game? Well, Space Dust is the other one. Hopefully I get the strat right, because when it's done right, this track is just absolutely amazing. But it can go bad really quickly, because it's pretty much on the edge the whole time. And it's probably the track I practiced the most in the entire game, just because of how hard it is. Well, could have been worse. That's unfortunate, I missed the balloon. Well, You see, like I wasn't that bad for the first 2 laps, even with some mistakes, but it's really easy to just do mistakes in this track. Once you do one, then everything else just follows. Wow. Okay. Well, it went from a pretty good one to a pretty disaster, but it's fine. As long as I get the cutscene skip here. Okay, so a thing that's only happens in Future Funland and sometime in Dragon Forest if you get good RNG with the wrong warps, is that you actually can just go straight to the coin races because there's no bus in between, and the door for the coin races, like as soon as you beat the normal race, it like activates the Servo Coin 1. So you can just restart the race and you skip not only re-entering the level, but you skip like the loading zone and everything, and it skips quite a decent amount of time of like waiting. Oh well, it's not going great at all. We'll leave the last coin for the end. This is one of the only occasions where I'll leave a coin specifically for the end. Usually, like, you want to get all of them on the first lap and maybe leave like 1 or 2 for the second lap, but I specifically leave that one for the third lap. Good. Alright. And for the second race, you don't have to restart the race when you're on the solo coin race. So you restart the race on the first one and then return to lobby on the second one. And if you get all these cutscene skips like that, it saves a lot of time. Well, I couldn't decide which way to go there. It's fine. So Dark Moon is my favorite track. I just like it. I just like optimizing this track. When it's very well done, it is amazing. It just feels great to do. Oh, this thing disappear. It's fine. That turn can be pretty tricky. Alright, I'm gonna try something here. Okay, so there's a trick here called loop skip where you can just launch yourself in the air and just kind of fly to the finish line. But it's very precise, so I'm gonna try it again in the silver coin race. But for now, I'm gonna go do the trophy. So all the tracks in Dino Domains are pretty long. In Future Funland are pretty long, and the one in Dino Domains are much faster. So even though you have to go back all the way to the beginning here and go back to Future Funland to complete the trophy, it's much faster to do that than actually completing the trophy in Future Funland. It saves, I think it saves like over a minute alone, just on that. It's a large amount of time. So this is the last time you'll see the Downderman tracks, so yeah, enjoy them while you can. If you didn't end up the 6th time before. Wow, I... something.
Fossil Canyon.
That was a pretty good jump. Alright, we're through this track, it's fine. It wasn't easy, but we went through. Alright, just 2 more tracks. Let's get to nice 36 here. No. There's always the one bunk. So pretty good.
Top volcano.
Alright, so one last wrong warp. The one we want here is Overworld. If we don't get the other one, by mistake, nice. If we don't get Overworld, it's fine, but save a few seconds. Come on, Diddy. You can do it. Alright. Shoot the building zone. Alright, we got the default warp. All warps, it's fine. That's like the most average RNGs, always getting that warp. We didn't get to see the other result that you can get, but it's fine. Though they're a lot less likely to happen than this one. Anyway, let's get to this race. This is by far the fastest race in this world, so we use it for the trophy. There's a Japanese only out of bounds here. Japanese only meaning it's only available in the Japanese version, which is why I've been playing on it the whole game. It saves quite a bit of time. So for it, I'm gonna get the shield for protection and the blue blue. And I'm gonna head over here. And as you see, there's just a gap that you can go out of bounds. And then you're just gonna have to fly around and hit certain checkpoints and complete the track. And the reason I got the shield there is because it's the box is located in a room where there's a bunch of laser shootings, and they shoot very, very close to the box. And if you get hit, then you miss it for sure. So that's just a little safety that we do. And 56 is a pretty good time for that. Pretty happy. And so now we're gonna try to do it 2 more times. Nice. Alright, so one thing you notice about this is most of the tracks that have auto bounces, you kind of have to go around the track and hit pretty much every single checkpoint. But for this one, you can just kind of go in the triangle pattern. Oh wow, I didn't hit that checkpoint, really? That's rare that you miss it. But yeah, for this track, you can go in the triangle pattern around the track, and it will work. Which is why it saves that much time, because you don't have to go in every single corner of the track. You can just go into 3 corners and be pretty fast. Cool. Alright, we have the cutscene skip, so we can just restart, get the silver coin challenge already. Saves us some loading times. And this is gonna be different than Up Top Volcano. Remember that I got all the coins on the first lap and then went out of bounds? For this one, I'm gonna go out of bounds on the first lap, and finish it on the third lap. So just a little variance. It's like a few seconds faster to do it in this order versus getting everything on the first lap. Oh, I'm forgetting getting the coins. Alright. Of course I missed it. Alright, I tried to barrel into it, but that's pretty risky, obviously. Because it's quite easy to miss. But it's fine. It would have been about the same time if I did the other strat, so. Alright, so Star City. It's a very interesting track. It features a lot of 90 degrees corners, which it is very hard to keep your speed through these. But I'm going to try to do my best about that and go really fast. That was a decent first lap. And you see me at the end of the tunnel do a little like drift into the zipper. If you drop full speed onto the zipper, like you're actually not gonna touch the zipper. You're gonna land just like a little bit after it. So you have to lose a little bit of speed to be able to land on the zipper, which is why I drift into it. Because drifting after a boost, you lose speed from the boost. Right. Got it. Nice. Now we can do the silver coin challenge. The coins in this track, there's quite a few that are annoying to get. There's a few that like there's not really a way to get fast. You just kind of have to go get them. They're out of the way, but. Like these two coming up, like this one is pretty far away, this one as well. Then you have to drift for a ton to go back to the zipper. And obviously you cannot carry any speed through that because you're just drifting so much. Just keep missing the boom. It's fine. So now we gotta go back to do the last race that we have, which is Dark Moon, because I didn't get the cutscene skip the first time. So we're just gonna do the silver coins here, and then we're gonna have Wispig, and we are done. This track is pretty cool for silver coins. I like it personally. There's a few kind of hard ones to get, but for the most part, it's pretty cool. One thing you're gonna make sure is that in front of each of the two loops there's a coin, and you really don't want to miss it because you cannot go back a loop. Once you took a loop, you cannot go back. So if you're on the third lap and you missed one, you're doomed. You have to restart from the beginning. But I have all of them, so I don't have to worry about that at all. So I'm gonna try loop skip again. Maybe I'll get it. That didn't. Okay. It's like I said, it's like super precise to get, but gonna try. All right, so now we only have Wispig to beat, and this is gonna be the run. So it's actually not that hard because there's an out of bounds in this track. The out of bounds itself isn't that hard either. If you take your time, it's pretty easy. So hopefully I get it, but it shouldn't be a problem. Alright, so let's see if we can get this. So we're gonna get this balloon to go out of bounds. We're gonna hug the right side and go underneath Wispig's statue. There we go. Simple. Now it's just a matter of hitting all the checkpoints, making sure you don't go back in bounds. It's pretty easy on this track to go back in bounds. It's a very current mistake for our runners to do. Because you know, usually when you're here, you're on PB pace, you're stressed out, and then you don't want to go back in bounds, but you do. There's just so many points at which can happen. Alright, so be ready on time. It's gonna be pretty soon. And time. Well, I didn't beat the estimate, but wasn't too far off. Well, I hope you guys liked the run. Many mistakes, but still got to show off some cool stuff. So, yeah. Thanks for watching, and enjoy the rest of the marathon.
Merci Obio pour cette super belle run de Diddy Kong Racing. Prochaine run qu'on va avoir, ça va être Bomberman 64 par Rockdet. Restez là, on revient dans pas long.